Now it's recording. Okay, Ryan, go cook.
Now we're recording. All right, testing 1 2. Hello, everyone. Normally I am the hype beast of Rebel, where I run around and swing on the rings. But once a year, on a day like today, I become serious and I tell you what I think about the next 6 weeks. So, Andrew, get in here, Andrew. All right. So this next 6 weeks, the Memorial Day Meltdown. This is our third year doing the Memorial Day Challenge. Um, it is some of the most impactful 6 weeks out of the whole year of Rebel. There's a lot of ups and downs throughout the year. People go on vacations in the summer. The winter's tougher to stay a little bit consistent. This is a time where mostly everyone wants to push and start to look good in the bathing suit and all that stuff, but really just prioritize yourself more. Melinda's on her fourth or fifth 6 week challenge. Andrew's on his second or third. I know Laura's done one in the past. It's just we're not focusing on being perfect. We're not focusing on killing you during your workouts. It's going to be tougher workouts. It's going to be a little bit of a push, but it's mainly the main thing that I always like to reiterate and pound in is building habits that you can sustain for the rest of the year. What can we do to focus? Give yourself that extra time to focus in. Maybe your water isn't where it needs to be. Maybe your sleeping isn't where it needs to be. Maybe your workout intensity isn't where it needs to be for you to really move the needle, those extra 5 pounds. There's many things that you can focus on, and the goals are not going to be the same for everyone. So someone's challenge, might look a lot different than someone else's challenge. But it's really a time where you can just focus on yourself and get some good results. So it's going to be a big community building thing throughout the whole 6 weeks, and everyone kind of supports each other. And it's one of the best things as coaches for us to see. Everyone get a big push, everyone come together and get really great results. We've honestly had some really great things happen. Andrew puts on 5 pounds of muscle every challenge, so that's nice. But without further ado, I'm going to leave you with the wonderful and great and perfect Melissa Julian. Oh, wait, stop. No, wait, stop. She's not Melissa Julian anymore. Alex, I'm so sorry. She's Melissa Gioquinto. And Derek Talish.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Yes, the Memorial Day Meltdown is a historic event here at Rebel. We have been doing 6 week transformation challenges for the past 8 years here. Coined the Memorial Day Meltdown by name about 3 years ago, and I really don't think we'll ever look back off that name. It is, as Ryan said, the most exciting event of the year for a couple different reasons. And as Ryan said, it is a massive call to action. Now, I see some new rebels here. I see some rebels who've been here for quite some time. I see some rebels that are more like furniture here that never really leave. And that said, and that's a great thing. But the cool part about it is everybody does this challenge. We get some new people coming in. It's a great call to action to get a little bit of an extra motivation and get in shape. And we've also got the people that have come here many times over and enjoy this event every year. So number one, I thank you so much for coming here today to talk to us. It is a beautiful Saturday morning into afternoon. And here we are in a dark gym together talking about food. So a testament to you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedules and your free time on the weekend to come and hang out with us. So with that said, all the strawberries are going away. You can make an insane amount of change in 6 weeks if you put the effort in. I spoke to the team the other day about some of the most important things regarding what we do here. And there's a lot of things that we value in our team meetings. We have a ton of them every week, and we talk about each and every one of you guys in them. We also talk about concepts. And one of them that I touched upon this past week is what is the main thing that drives change in the gym? And I had each staff member tell me what they thought it was. And it was cool to hear the different things that they would interpret. And a lot of them ended up being right around the same answer. The number one thing that is important to make changes in your body and changes in your life for that matter is consistency, right? You have to do something on a consistent basis over and over again if you want to have the result that you're looking for. The second thing that is just about as important as consistency, and kind of doesn't really, consistency doesn't mean anything if you don't have the second thing. It's intensity, right? It's your commitment to the goal. If you don't have the intensity behind the consistency, if you just show up and check the box and you come here, well, I don't know if we're really maximizing our results. But if we put the best amount of effort that we can put in on a day-to-day basis, that is where we see some really special things happen in the 6-week transformation challenge, the Memorial Day meltdown, and just fitness in general. So my 2 calls to action, my 2 reminders for you guys above all else is that we are, number 1, consistent with our fitness and our nutrition, as consistent as we can be. And the second one would be to really put our best foot forward and have the highest amount of intensity that we could for this. That means if you're a little bit tired in the gym, you give your best effort for that day. You say, you know what, I'm here, I showed up, I better make the most of it, right? If you've got a head full of steam and you're feeling good, coach, I think I could do a little bit more today, okay? It's communication, okay? Because that is where we really have or can show you our value the most. When you can consistently communicate with us and we can push you to the appropriate level. So that's a quick reminder and something that I really like to start out with for something like this. Now, I got one more slide before Melissa kicks me off, because she said to me beforehand, the people hear you speak too much. You probably like hearing you speak too much, maybe. But Melissa's going to come in and give us the X's and O's real quick. But this is such a good reminder. We have some conversations with, and I'm sure we might have even had them with you guys at some point in this room even. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Hey, Derek, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and it's really not working anymore. I'm like, well, we've been doing that for a little while, and it's probably time to pull on another lever. It's probably time to up the intensity a little bit. It's probably time to focus on sleep a little bit more. It's probably time to look at our nutrition supplementation. Hey, we haven't done our blood work yet. Okay, we've never taken our blood work. We've had some really great progress, but let's make sure that metabolically everything is okay under the hood. Okay, because I'm not magic. I can't see everything like that. Now, if you don't stop living on autopilot, you'll be stuck in the same cycle, right? This is a really important one here because it shows that action has to be intentional. We have to pick and choose, and that's something that we'll do together, what we're going to change over the next 6 weeks for this meltdown. And finally, you're not stuck because you're incapable. You're stuck because you're comfortable doing what you've always done. This is super relevant for the new member, right? Who's just starting out at Rebel, breaking out of the comfort zone, taking on some different habits, right? But it's also very relevant for the veteran, right? The veteran who's been doing a lot of the really great things that they've been doing for months, years here. We need to start to up a little bit. We need to change something a little bit, dial up that intensity. Mr. Quinto.
I'm coming up, everyone. It's my turn. Get out of here.
Down button.
That's fine. It's fine. Okay, so Derek gave us our little overview there. I'm going to go over the X's and O's of kind of what our expectations are for all of you throughout the challenge in terms of nutrition alone, no training involved here. So the 4 things are going to be: eat 75% of your body weight in grams of protein every day, prioritize whole foods, limit refined sugars and alcohol, and stay hydrated. So I'm going to go through each one by one and kind of lay this out for you guys so you have clarity on what you need to do over the next 6 weeks. So number 1, we'll say it every nutrition seminar, you're probably nauseated about hearing about protein at this point in your life because it's everywhere. It's even in Starbucks cold foam now. Haven't you had it? Have you had it before?
Yeah, I've had it. It's just milk.
It's just, yes. But protein is all over the place. Everyone's marketing protein, but we're going to give you the real deal here. So 75% of your body weight is a really great goal. I say goal because for some people, this might sound overwhelming to start with. I do not expect anybody to go 0 to 100 when it comes to any of these things. But if we can at least become aware of what our protein intake is and get a little bit better at it over the 6 weeks, then we did something right. So protein keeps us full, supports muscle, gives us the lean, defined look that we are trying to get. Just examples here. If you weigh 150 pounds, that's 110 grams of protein per day, 180 pounds, 135 grams, and 200 pounds, 150 grams. That sounds overwhelming, but I am going to show you in the next slide what a day at that amount would look like, just to show you that it's not as bad as you think. So, is a really great graphic that I love. I use it in every single nutrition seminar. It shows you eat more, eat some, and eat less, right? And I think this is important because you can sprinkle in some of this and you can sprinkle in some of this and it's okay. But you just don't want to live here and here at all times. You want to live here most of the time, right? So think lean proteins, eggs, fish, chicken, ground turkey, lean ground beef, like 90% plus, things like that. Plain Greek yogurt, cultured cottage cheese. If you like cottage cheese, some people hate it, but I like it. And then sprinkle in some of the other stuff, right? So we've got some Canadian bacon on there. We've got lamb on there, uncultured cottage cheese, and then eat less, obviously, fried foods, chicken fingers, things like that. But you know, at Rebel, we are about balance here. Obviously, this challenge is an opportunity for you guys to really lock things in a little bit more, but you also can enjoy these things in moderation and still reach your goals. So that's okay. So this is what I was talking about before. What does 135 grams of protein in one day look like, right? Breakfast, 3 eggs, half a cup of egg whites, 30 grams of protein there. Snack, cup of Greek yogurt, 20 grams of protein. Lunch, 5 ounces of chicken breast. Snack, cottage cheese, chia seeds, almonds, 20 grams. And dinner, 5 ounces of salmon or lean ground beef. Everyone in this room, does this look like something you could do on a day-to-day? Yes? Yeah, what's up?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I've trained myself to not be a snacker.
That's
But
okay.
I just throw the snack into the meal.
Yep, 100%. This is just to show you what it would look like with a standard 3 meals, 2 snacks kind of layout, but it doesn't have to be this way, and you don't have to do your diet as 3 meals and 2 snacks.
I think that like same point, like just to add, like a lot of people do intermittent fasting. For someone that like doesn't eat breakfast, you could like just to add eggs to lunch is an easy way to like keep on track.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I have my chicken salad,
Yeah.
throw eggs with it.
How you get there, as in how you break up your meals, doesn't matter as much as just making sure that you're getting there some way, shape, or form. Whether it's broken up into 5 small meals, some people do that. That's totally fine. But I think this is a really great example of showing people that it's not as overwhelming as you think when it comes to protein, because I think people hear 135 grams sounds like a lot. Like that sounds super overwhelming for a lot of people, and I completely understand that. But when you lay it out, it's just making sure that you're prioritizing it throughout the things that you're eating every day and with every meal. So just wanted to show you guys that one. Prioritize whole foods. Whole foods are minimally processed, right? So I'm sure you guys have heard of ultra highly processed foods and this and that. So I'm just going to kind of explain to you guys what makes a whole food and what makes a processed food, right? So whole foods are vegetables, right? Things that come from the earth. Basically, the smaller the ingredient list, the more whole the food probably is. And if there's no ingredient list at all, that's the best you can get, right? There's no ingredient list for peppers or cucumbers or anything like that. So that's just a general rule of thumb. If the majority of your diet are these foods, you are in a great spot. So I love this graphic as well. It shows you from whole food to highly processed, right? So we have brown rice to white rice to rice puff cereal, least to most processed. Another example, black beans, refried black beans, black bean tortilla chips, right? So I think it's pretty self-explanatory here, the difference between whole and highly processed foods. This doesn't mean you can't eat the stuff in the middle, right? Like white rice is okay. That doesn't mean you're eating a super highly processed food, but we know things that are prepackaged are processed in some way, shape, or form, but that doesn't mean they don't have a place within our diet in some way, shape, or form. But most of the time we want to kind of stick to this first column here. This is just a whole food pyramid. I'm not going to go too in depth into this. I think everybody pretty much knows what a whole food is. It's the stuff that's healthy for us and that we all know is healthy for us. So limit alcohol and refined sugars. Again, I'm so sorry, everyone. This is the hard one, right? Again, I wrote limit for a reason. I'm not trying to sit here and say that you can't have anything ever, but it's about knowing yourself and knowing what you can handle. Because some people can't have an Oreo without having the entire package. That is my future brother-in-law is like that. He eats like the entire package. It's insane. But they don't just add empty calories to your day, right? They also directly go against your health. So spiking blood sugar, disrupting your hunger signals, slowing fat loss, impacting your recovery. All of these things are going to impact how you feel on a day-to-day basis. So staying away from them is going to help you in the long run.
Nerd.
I know, it's the worst. But we do say about alcohol, if you do choose to drink alcohol throughout this challenge, stick to non-sugary mixers, clear liquors, things like that, not beer, margaritas, all the fun stuff, right? I love margaritas myself. What's up, Joseph?
I was just wondering about sugar alternatives. Do those have the same effect on sleep? I typically go with those instead of calories.
It's a
lower
hard
calories,
depends,
but-
right? So I know some people are really against artificial sweeteners and things of that nature. I think in moderation, they're okay, right? And if they're going to replace very high sugar things, like I think that they are okay in moderation as long as they are not making up your entire day, right? So some would be think like Splenda, things like that in coffee, but you also can do some more natural alternatives like monk fruit, right? There's monk fruit sweeteners, things like that are a little bit better than artificial sweeteners. There's agave and all these other things that are naturally sweet. If you would like a list of them, I can give you a list of them. So common sources of refined sugars, obvious soda, sweetened drinks, candy, desserts, all the stuff that's so good. And the sneaky ones, flavored yogurts. This is not all flavored yogurts, but some of them just tend to be sneaky. If you look at the nutrition facts on some of them, they're loaded up with added sugars and stuff like that. So it's always better to stick to the more plain yogurts and add fruit and add your own things into that. Granola and protein bars. Again, not all are bad, but a lot of them have sneaky added sugars in them. Store-bought sauces. I have some brands that are really, really great. Primal Kitchen's a great one. I don't know if any of you have heard of it before. It's all whole ingredients. There's no additives in it. There's not a lot of sugars in it or anything like that. And they're delicious. I love them. But some store-bought sauces can get up there when it comes to added sugars. Breakfast cereals, packaged breads and bagels, healthy snacks labeled low fat. That's a really big one. I think marketing plays a really big role in a lot of the parts of our lives today, especially in the food store. And you see high protein, low fat, organic, healthy, this, that. The best thing you can do is just look at the ingredients. That's all that I would tell you to do. Look at the ingredients, look at the nutrition facts, and kind of see what we're working with, because unfortunately, we can market in a way that's a little deceiving to the public. So just make sure that you're keeping track of those things. And if there's anything that you are questioning, feel free to send it to any of the Rebel staff and we'll tell you what we think about it. Stay hydrated, big one. So when you're dehydrated, everything gets harder. You might feel more sluggish during your workouts. Energy dips, cravings go up, body holds on to water, which sounds funny because you think it would be the opposite, but that is the truth. Water is a huge part of our lives. Our bodies are made up of 70% water, so it's important to keep our muscle cells specifically filled with water to feel better during our workouts and during this challenge as a whole. Goal for the Meltdown, half your body weight in ounces every day. Hydration directly affects your in-body scan. This is something that we sometimes forget to tell everybody, and I think this is very important for the challenge overall. The scan, your skeletal muscle mass numbers, and your water are directly tied hand in hand with each other. The more hydrated you are, 99% of the time, the better your skeletal muscle mass is going to be on your in-body. So we've got the weigh-ins coming in this week for the challenge. My biggest piece of advice is really try to focus on your hydration a day or two before your scan, because you will see a difference in it. Your turn. Guys, Derek's back. Derek's back. Oh, sorry.
Sleep. Who has trouble sleeping? Anybody here? What are some challenges with sleep? Are we? Sure, coach.
Sometimes your boss will give you a triple espresso shot at 5:30 in the afternoon, and not tell you that it's a triple.
Right. Yeah. You know, that definitely, but
So hypothetical.
yeah, that's well, first of all, sounds like you've got a fairly toxic boss.
He's fun.
Oh, that's all. Oh, nice. Staying asleep is an issue sometimes, getting asleep. It is a very common thing for many people, and it is multifactorial, right? So tips and tricks. Sleep is where your body actually builds the results that you work for, right? We've heard that before, and it's probably pretty frustrating because if you are a challenged sleeper, knowing that is kind of really upsetting. You're like, oh man, well, you want the most out of what you put into the gym, right? Now, to review it, it's when our muscles repair, hormonal reset, recovery happens. Poor sleep can do terrible things like increase hunger, slow fat loss, decrease strength, kill your energy for your workouts. I like to think of it like if the body's not sleeping properly, then it really can't do all the things that it's supposed to do and help you recover so optimally, right? It's just a little too much for it. That's why it needs an appropriate amount of time. It can't do 4 hours on a regular basis. Our definition is aiming for 7 to 9. Now, who gets less than 7 hours of sleep here? Raise your hand. Who can function pretty well off less than 7 hours of sleep here? And also, right? I can probably function pretty good off 5, 5.5, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's quote unquote optimal by any means, right? Now, if you're like me and you're hitting 5.5 on a regular basis, and then somebody like myself comes in here and says, hey, we're going to shoot for 7 to 9, it can be a little overwhelming. So what I would do here is I would just shoot for just a little bit more at first. I would shoot for just a little bit more at first. So if you're getting, if you're Derek and you're going to bed at 12 o'clock and getting up at 5, then we're going to try to go to bed at 11:30, for example, and get up at 5. Just a little bit of a differential there is how we're going to start that, because I've been a part of presentations on the other side of this where it's like, all right, we're looking for, I was part of a study group once that basically had us do, we're gonna look for, complete muscle growth optimization. It was this big thing. And they're like, yeah, you sleep 9.5 hours. And I was like, what? This is pre-kids. That's not even happening pre-kids, right? So that is my biggest recommendation for tips and tricks for sleep to just start with. Now, these are some of the big ones as well. We want to keep a consistent sleep schedule, right? Waking up and going to bed around the same time is super beneficial for us. If you're somebody who is consistently to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock during the week, and then you're 1 or 2 o'clock, I don't know if that's anybody here, on the weekend, that throws off our body pretty good, right? We really don't want that much of a deviation. Historically, I kind of have like this 2-hour rule for the weekend where it's like, if you're going to bed at 10 on a weekday, try not to go to bed much later on a weekend. And it really depends. That might resonate with you depending on where you are in your life. For some of us, we're just kind of like limping in the weekend. And you're like, all right, I'm going to bed a little bit earlier in the weekend normally. But that is a big thing for us. Light exposure, sunlight in the morning is really nice. And let me tell you, this is the time of year to be talking about this, because how about that 70-degree weather right now? I can't wait to go out there. I got a plant that I work with right over here, Melissa. She's getting light exposure right away. They say between the first 10, 15 minutes, getting out there is definitely an absolutely beneficial thing. Limiting screens before bed, I think that probably affects people significantly more than we realize. The problem is we're so tremendously exposed to any kind of light like that now that it almost kind of feels insurmountable. If you're a reader, I love this. I love to get hey, you read 10 pages of a book a night rule just to get a little bit of screen time away right before you go down. But if you're somebody that has a hard time going to sleep, we're going to look to limit screen time before bed. That's one of the first things, and it's going to be a really great thing. And if you haven't tried to read an actual book before bed, it can be really nice because it naturally kind of quiets the eyes a little bit. Okay, I'm a huge fan of that. Now, blue light from laptops and phones. I guess laptops are super relevant. 30 to 60 minutes before bed. I've had clients where we've sat down and they've had some really big trouble sleeping. And that 30 to 60 window, I've expanded to 120 minutes. We've done 2 hours of no blue light before bed. Now, I think that that is not super unrealistic. But if you're somebody who's having a really challenging time sleeping, that's what I would look at 100%. Now, creating a wind down routine helps signal your body, right, to say, all right, we're actually going to go to bed. As I mentioned, reading, light stretching. When you guys have a little bump or bruise, right, or some little area that might be a little bit challenging, one of the biggest things that I like to do is habit stack, which I've talked about before here, and say, all right, when I go to bed, right before I go to bed, I'm going to do some stretching for this particular area. I know my low back has the tendency to get tight. I sit a little bit too much. I don't walk as much as I really want to right now, and my back gets a little bit tight. And I think that stretching that area would be really good. I'm going to say, hey, let's do it right before bed. Let's make it a rule. Every time we go to get into bed, we do a little bit of light stretching. Warm shower, I love that. Okay, stretching in the shower too, phenomenal. Don't slip. It's not on me if you do. Calm music, I like it. Okay, we'll end you. Okay. Watch caffeine. You really put that in there. Oh. Derek Talish is 90% caffeine, 10% hot gas. And that is basically my body composition. Watch caffeine 6 to 8 hours before bed. All right. If you are having trouble winding down, 6 to 8 hours caffeine, push the late coffee back. Melissa does it. She does it pretty well. Ryan doesn't have a choice. He has to do what I say. What?
We used to get afternoon coffee. The three of us, as far as which is the hard, have been slacking lately because we haven't been getting as much afternoon caffeine. And I have seen a direct correlation with my sleep because I was finding that I would be in bed like chipper, ready to go at like 10:30. And then I started just doing one coffee a day in the morning, and I do feel a major difference. So unfortunately, it works.
Melissa switched to a black tea lemonade with light lemonade to get the fix in the afternoon.
Or you get like
Yes.
matcha.
Yeah, or something like that. Something that's just a little less aggressive than like my usual cold brew that has like 200 milligrams of caffeine in it.
I got a lot of kids in my house. Heavy meals late at night can disrupt sleep, including sugary snacks. Okay, we want to make sure we're limiting that. Alcohol might make you feel sleepy, but worsen your sleep quality. Hey, listen, doesn't happen too often now, but I know those days back in the Uber, you're like this. I'm real tired. I can't wait to get to bed. And then you have the worst night's sleep ever after a night of drinking. Okay, been there. Let's limit it. Optimize your sleep environment. Cool, dark room. Okay, that's the place to go. If you are somebody who sleeps with the TV on, I get it. Sometimes people need a little bit of noise. We're going to do some white noise machine or something like that to help that out. Cool and dark. Okay, lower the temperature a little bit. That's going to be good, Joseph. We'll do questions at the end. You want room to be cool, dark, and quiet. Don't force sleep. If you can't sleep after 20 minutes, get up and do something relaxing. Low light, lying there frustrating makes it worse. Who gets sleep anxiety? Oh my God, I can't sleep. Now I'm only going to have this many hours. Exercise regularly. Come on, guys. You guys do that. Be careful with naps. If you nap, keep it short, 20 to 30 minutes. The Rebel staff has mastered the power nap. Break the snacking cycle. Cravings and mindless snacking aren't about willpower. They're about patterns. Okay. I would ask any rebels here who have limited the snacking if they have been able to break a pattern or something like that. I will never forget a conversation that I had with a man probably 5 or 6 years ago. And he was like, I cannot stop snacking after my work when I come home. And I asked him about his routine, and we really kind of fed into that. I love to analyze routines. So he would come home from work, he would do X, Y, and Z, change his clothes, whatever, and he would go and sit down and watch TV. And he did that every single day. And whenever he would sit down and go to watch TV, he'd have the same kind of like, all right, now I'm going to go get something to eat. Now I'm going to go get something to eat. Now I'm going to get something to eat. Well, guess what we did? We changed the room that he watched TV in. We said, hey, let's change the room you watch TV in. That big comfy chair, leave it for later. We're going to switch your environment. Okay. And if we look at the breaking the addiction cycle, if we look at the roles that environment play with a more extreme case like addicts, when we want to disrupt the chemistry that's going on in our head with addiction or pattern recognition, we're going to break them. Okay. So we changed his room, we changed his chair, and all of a sudden snacking wasn't so hard to not do. That's pretty impactful if you really think about it, and kind of wild. Now, the goal isn't to be perfect. It's to interrupt the cycle, as I just said. Pause before you snack. Ask, am I hungry or am I bored? Oh, I get that. Eat enough protein and plus real meals. Protein is the most one of the most satiating things that you can do. If you're increasing protein, we're probably lowering calories. Addition, subtraction by addition. Delay, don't deny, give it 10 minutes. Most cravings pass. I like paying attention to what kind of cravings I have. If I'm craving something sugary and then I realize, oh my, I really haven't had much sugar or carbohydrate in today, that's kind of a little bit of a cool thing to notice. Out of sight, out of mind. This is kind of easy. Don't buy it, but we don't live in a world where we can kind of fully control the food in our house. Silly rabbit tricks are for kids. I was in my cabinet this morning. I don't know why it was there. I've got 7 humans in my house. Any of them could have gotten it. Logan probably went down to the dollar store. Create a cutoff time. Late night snacking. Food is not inherently like super impactful to the degree that we were taught it was late at night. However, it still doesn't mean that you should down a full meal right before bed. Creating a cutoff time and creating rules for yourself surrounding late night snacking, that's pretty solid. Brushing your teeth early signals I'm done. I literally, if I brush my teeth at night, I know that I'm locked down and I'm done. I'm not going to eat anything else. That could be a pretty cool thing if you haven't done it to help stop the snacking. Ryan mentioned intermittent fasting before. I like intermittent fasting probably for a couple different.
Oh,
I like
Derek.
intermittent fasting.
Oh, Derek.
Dude, this is where you would have like Jared like holding this up. Like how funny would that be?
He's
Jared,
so
get up
cute.
here. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my god. Look, it's so much better.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
are you guys actually gonna do it?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
sick. All right, let's see how long that lasts. Anyway, I love you guys. I love intermittent fasting for first. This is so much better. First and foremost, for the only reason, the number one reason I like it, sorry, is that it creates rules. I like when certain food or diets create rules or guidelines that we can adhere to. Humans like rules. Okay. Now, how to eat out and stay on track. You really made me do this one too. All right, so you guys, I can't have you guys do this. Put it down, please. Put it down, please. Yeah, if you want to figure it out in the background, you can figure it out in the background. I love it. Problem solver. She gives me the eating out slide every year because she always makes fun of me on this one. When we go out for our Rebel dinner, we go out pretty frequently. Probably like once every quarter, right? We go out together. The holiday party for Rebel is insane for the staff. We go out and we.
Jared's Italian.
Try and get
The holiday party for Rebel is super fun. I go out there and I order probably 10 appetizers. Tyler orders hash browns with his steak. Ryan and Tyler actually did this weird thing this year where they fed each other. It was very awkward. They split a steak. It was very awkward. So that's a perfect example of exactly what we don't do when we go out to eat during challenge season. Now, a couple of these things are super important. I'm going to have you guys read through these on your own. I'm not going to recite them, but this is the biggest thing. If you go out to eat and you're super hungry, if you go out to a grocery store and you're super hungry, this shit is harder to do. Okay. You want to make sure that you're never starving, because when you're starving, I've had moments where I'm super, super hungry coming out of work because I did this probably a couple of years back. I remember I went to McDonald's. Do you remember the story? I went to McDonald's. I ordered 2 extra large fries, and I got in the car and I had like 3 fries and I felt guilty and I threw them onto 46. And I'm like, oh my God. Like it was like, I'm weird with food. So that I do stuff like that. But that being said, that's a perfect example of not getting yourself to the point of being super hungry. That said, checking the menu in advance, super important, okay? Not going into the meal hungry. You can have a little bit of a smaller meal at home first. Then when you come in, you're less likely to snack on appetizers and things like that. We want to prioritize the plate, okay? A lot of us have talked about this and seen this before. If we are going out, we don't want to have a pasta primary dish. We want to have a meat primary dish. Little things like that that still make life pretty fun and cool, but don't necessarily put you in a super bad position for what you're going to be doing here, right? So that is the biggest thing with eating out. Liquid calories, stick to water, sparkling water, unsweetened drinks, things like that. I don't know about you, but has anybody recently looked at the calories in a soda? Like if you get like an extra large soda somewhere, you're probably downing 600 to 700 calories in just soda. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to drink my calories like that. If I'm going to have my calories and I'm going to go out on the weekend, I'm not going to do it via soda. So take the sugary alcoholic beverages away. Go be an adult and drink clear liquor. Okay.
Or chocolate milk.
Instead of your rum and cokes.
Mom is clear.
Rum and cokes. Okay. Get the soda out of the mixed drinks. Get the soda out of the mixed drinks. Okay. What's everybody's go-to? Let's talk about that. Okay. I want to stay on that. What are some going out drinks? Give me some.
Tequila and soda with lime.
Cool. Love a tequila soda lime. Yeah. And that's the same kind of cons. And it's not a, when you order a tequila soda, for example, it's not a super heavy soda. For the record, I'm talking about like a Coke. Yeah, it's not something like that. Rum and Coke. Yeah, the Coke is what I'm attacking here. Okay. Red wine, love it. Red wine is we're probably not downing. We're not probably advising downing a bottle of red wine. Melissa is a huge wine drinker.
I love a good wine.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, and right, and that's the thing, how do I have, you manipulate and kind of figure out, like, all right, how do I limit this just a little bit here and there? And it does require a little bit of creativity.
If you love a margarita and you're trying to stay away from the sugar, then just do like a salt and brick glass and just do the tequila and soda and some squeeze of lime.
I like that a lot.
Kind of eating it, but without like it's crap.
I
I
love
like
it.
skinny margaritas too. They're not perfect, but they're better than regular margaritas. So skinny margaritas have a little way to get a little less calories.
Also, if you want to feel like you're having a drink, have seltzer and mint and lime.
In a wine glass.
Mocktail.
In a wine glass.
Well,
not in a wine
I
glass.
like it in a glass, a regular glass, because I can muddle the.
You know, I have a really hard time with these talks every year because I always come out of them thinking like, oh, does everybody think I'm an alcoholic? But it is kind of.
It's only got 20,000 bottles of tequila for Christmas.
I mean, I literally had the entire freezer is filled with tequila here. Do you want to be? This is a concept we talked about last time, and I love that we brought it back. Do you want to be 90% consistent, 70% consistent, or 50% consistent? All right. This is what you're going. This is so full circle with what I talked about at the beginning. You know, person 3, you're 50% consistent. You're not going to have maximized results. If you're person 2, you're 70% consistent. You're going to have better results. If you're 90% consistent, which is not 100, okay, I'd never said 100. We're not looking for perfection here. You are going to be having the most optimal results for this particular challenge. Now, we want to meet our sponsors, okay? Now, with this being said, at all of these events, we always have some pretty awesome sponsors, right? First and foremost, we have Recover Acupuncture and Sports Rehab. That's Dr. Alan Tempo. He's back and he's better than ever, just like a Hess truck. And we are going to be doing I believe it's a 25% off all of his services, acupuncture. Now he has, yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been to Alan for a couple of things, and he, first of all, he really, really listens to you, and he gets really great results.
I love it.
Just as a
I also
testimony.
go to
Tyler,
Alan.
Another testimonial, I just went yesterday. I had like the worst knee pain ever because just like was squatting too much, and now I can like walk. I'm not walking.
Crazy.
No. I was like limping.
Dr. Allen makes people walk
And
again,
then,
who were previously not able to walk.
I mean, look, tomorrow is Jesus' day, but Alan.
Yeah, but Dr. Allen is the one that makes people walk. I love that. Tyler, thank you.
That was insane.
All of the details for these are, Joseph, I know you had a question. I am coming back to you, I promise. The spot, Mecca, they've got a couple different things going here. They've got a mix shot, which is basically just a giant vitamin shot. Everybody gets free. Those are cool. I like getting them on a regular basis. And Mecca also has a consultation for any type of medical weight loss. Okay, we can have that conversation and help you detail what that is. Oh, I forgot. I have this.
Yeah.
Nova is here. Mandy is going to come up and talk to us about what Nova is doing. Amazing. I will not speak for them as they will speak for themselves. Groundhouse is going to surprise us with what they're dishing out. That is a little coffee shop in the center of Caldwell that just opened up. We like them very much. They own a gym in Verona called the Compound. But we understand that there are lots of really cool gyms in the area. And even though that they are associated with Groundhouse, we still love Groundhouse and we love coffee. A lot of the things that they do and align with what we do. And then we have Eat Clean Bro, okay? Eat Clean Bro is a larger meal prep company that we have used, and we tremendously like their food. Now, they have a pretty good array of healthy meals and a lot of different options that you can check out on their website. I won't speak and give you the full breakdown for what they do. It's very easy to see. Now, they have extended a discount to you guys for the entire challenge, which I think was super generous. And we are very excited to have them on board. So Eat Clean Bro, we've got them. And then after that, we've got I think it's done. My joke was going to be absolutely nobody. I think that's it. So after them, we have absolutely nobody. That's our last challenge, right? That's our last sponsor. Mandy's going to come up in just a second, but before she does, I'm going to answer any questions. Joseph,
Yes.
what'd you have, brother?
For heavy meals, what constitutes late at night? My dinner is my heaviest meal of the day. I just want to make sure if I need to do it earlier, I'm doing it appropriately early.
What's bedtime?
It varies due to baby.
Yeah.
Generally around like 11 to 2.
So you are a really good. I'll give you a. Mandy, I don't want to keep you standing. It's going to be like a minute and 30-second story. It's super relevant for you. I like to write. Some of you have probably seen some of my writings. Some of them are life related. Some of them are fitness related. But I remember in particular when I had my first son, the things that you can control when you first have a baby are very limited. Okay. So I recommend for any new parent that you control the factors that you can control to a super high degree. And the things that are a little bit more sporadic, you let them be a little bit more sporadic and you don't stress about them. I chose not to, and I chose not to stress too hard about sleep and know that I'd figure out sleep as I could. I did not create more stress surrounding getting more sleep because that really wouldn't be super good for you and your spouse either, right? But what I did focus on was my food tremendously. What I did focus on was my gym tremendously. I focused on the intensity of my workouts, and I focused on the consistency of my workouts, and I focused on my meal prep and my food. So because sleep is a little out there, we don't stress too much about it. Because nutrient timing is associated with sleep, I also wouldn't stress too much about that. I would say that you want to get your meals in, but not to the extent that it disrupts your sleep. So I would say that if we were a little bit all over the place, I would have very limited rules regarding nutrient timing for you. Because if you have a situation where I say, hey, Joseph, we're not going to eat after 8 o'clock. But then because the baby, you're now 4 to 5 hours into the night and you've been up and you haven't eaten since 8 and you're hungry, but you're like, oh, well, Derek said I can't eat. That's not super productive because you should probably eat if you're starving after 5 hours of not eating. So I would say that do not have a super heavy meal in the evening. Keep it a little lighter, eat to the point of being full, but not to overeat. And that's kind of where my general recommendation for you would be, just off the cuff. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So my summary, don't stress too much about the timing of food. Focus on the quality of food. Focus on your exercise tremendously. Anybody else have any questions for me before Mandy pops up? Anything? When's the last time anybody did a Macarena?
I just did my brain last week.
I'm coaching T-ball. I'm coaching T-ball now, so I do a lot of like little cool things like that. I'm like, everybody comes in, they think we're going to talk about T-ball, and I'm like, all right, you guys like Spider-Man? Mandy, take it away.
All
What
right.
intro?
I'll
You
be
like Spider-Man?
fast. Hi, everybody. I am Mandy from Nova Wellness. And if you guys are not familiar, Nova Wellness is an integrative wellness center in Roseland, New Jersey. We focus on preventative health. So we have kind of two buckets. We have like the healthy who just want to really be healthy and focus on their longevity. And then we have people who may have things going on and they're not really sure why. So we do root cause assessments. We do metabolic weight. We do pretty much like, you name it, we do it. And we are owned by two doctors. Between the two of them, they have 7 board certifications. Normally one of them would be here today, but they're away this weekend with their family. So that's why I'm here. I am the health coach at Nova. So everything that Melissa and Derek were saying is like all my philosophies and what I live by. And I do my best, as well as you guys, to do all that. So Nova is doing a special for you guys during this transformation, or this challenge, I'm sorry. It's a Nova Metabolic Performance Blueprint, and we can, I guess, get it emailed if you guys want to have the information, and I'll leave this here with you guys. We are offering a DEXA, which is the gold standard in body composition. I'm sure some of you have heard about a DEXA scan. Many people do it for bone density. We do it more so for body composition analysis. So when you're doing the in-body, which is amazing, and that's something you want to do, you know, as often as you can, as you're tracking your weight, the DEXA is really the gold standard, and that's going to show really that visceral fat around your organs, your skeletal muscle mass, and all of the things that are going on. So we do that. Obviously, we can't do that too often because it does have slight radiation, and that's where the in-body comes in between. We are also doing an RMR. RMR is your resting metabolic rate. This is a personalized, calculated daily caloric needs. All of the things that we're offering here are going to be super helpful for your coaches to have, because we can give them this information and they can even more tailor your workouts according to these stats. So the RMR is going to see what your caloric needs in a day are. It shows how many calories you're actually burning at rest. And sometimes it's a very surprising thing because we just don't always know. So it's pretty amazing. And then we do AI strength. We're going to do an AI strength assessment, and we're going to check your functional strength, your upper, your lower, and your core strength for percentile benchmarking, and a VO2 max. So I don't know if any of you have seen a VO2 max, but basically you go on a bike, you are hooked up to like a little kind of like almost like an oxygen mask that's connected to a cardiovascular machine, and it personalizes your heart rate training zones to maximize your gym gains. So with the VO2 and the RMR, by Melissa, Derek, Brian, Jared, Tyler, all getting these statistics on you, they're going to really be able to give you guys amazing tailoring, even more so than they already do. So you'll get a personalized report, including all the copies of the results, personalized nutrition and exercise plan, and access to a webinar on how to utilize the report, and access to monthly Q&A. This is valued at over $1,600, and we are doing it for you guys for $799. It also gives you the chance to come into Nova, see what we do. We also have an IV room. We have peptides. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about peptides and NAD, hormone replacement. There's a million things. A lot of that also helps with your goals with, strength and, just trying to have the energy and everything that you need. So it's kind of like an extra incentive there. And then we have a full team. Like I said, our doctors, Chris is a cardiologist by trade. Dr. Jen is a menopause specialist, an MD. And then we have an exercise physiologist, registered dietitian, health coach, nurse practitioner. And we're all, a supportive team to help everybody meet whatever their goals might be. So I have some pamphlets if you want them, and hopefully we can welcome you. Yes, but I'll let her ask first and then you.
No, you. It's not really a question. I wanted to kind of like expand like from our side on like what Mandy was saying about like how we can help your workouts, having some of these numbers. Well, so basically like we get your resting metabolic rate and we know like say Joseph comes in, he says my RMR is, it's a normal number for
It might be like
2100.
2100.
Something like say, oh Joseph, what did you been to Nova? What did they say your RMR was? They said 2100. What have you eaten today? He tells me he had 3 eggs and a protein shake. He's at the gym now and it's 5:30 at night, and I know he is way under his RMR. That's probably not the best day to have Joseph do the heaviest weights ever done on the squat, because he's gonna feel terrible after, and he already hasn't had enough. He might start to feel woozy if you push him too hard. It's just good information to know of like, okay, I can now visualize how many calories I should be eating to maintain my weight. Now, if I know I'm way under that, maybe that's how we be a little bit smarter in the gym and not go crazy, so that by week 3 of the challenge, you're doing the extra day, you're trying to pick up the intensity, you haven't realized that you're not eating as much before your workouts, and now you're shot by week 3, and you have to take like 2 days off, and you're like, oh, I feel all thrown off. But that was basically just my 2 cents.
Totally good point. And even for me now, I know what my heart rate should be in order to burn fat. And I was even doing weights one day and I was like, I knew I was probably pushing myself, and I need to because I've been here for a long time. So progressive overload is really important. But I was like, I could feel myself. Like, I was like, I felt my heart like pounding out of my chest, and I looked, my heart rate was like 160, which is way beyond what my heart rate personally should be. So I was like, I'll just take a minute in between each of my reps. And that was all I needed to do, was just kind of slow it down a little bit, but I was still able to do what I needed to do. So that really helps. And it will help you guys. I think Eat Clean Bro, if I'm not mistaken, shows your macros when you order your meals. So you'll also be able to then tailor your meals probably accordingly. And we're also going to be rolling out some meals, but I'll tell you about that another time. So what was your question?
Oh, yeah, so the $799, is that everything that you just talked about?
Yes. Yes. And then, obviously when you're in Nova, if you have questions about what else we offer, like I know Derek was even talking about advanced labs and, checking other things, other markers, like we do also do that at Nova. So that's something that's really important because we don't always know what's going on. I mean, blood work's a huge part of that puzzle.
Nova client, it's very nice to see. And I'll always recommend it.
Thank
I've
you.
enjoyed it tremendously. Awesome. Maybe,
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're pretty much wrapped up, guys. For the last 30 seconds or so, Ryan is going to tell some of his best jokes. Okay? So Ryan, you're on the clock. You've got 30 seconds. Hop on up.
All right.
3, 2, 1. You said 30 seconds. Here you go.
All right. So, I guess I'll try to make it nutritional. What do you call a cow with only left side limbs?
Cow?
What do you call a cow with only 2 left legs?
Lefty?
Lean beef.
Ah!
Hey, Lee. Come on, guys. That was good. That was a good one. All right. You got it, Andy?
Yeah, no, I was gonna give you 2 jokes, but you're only getting 1.
That was good. Come on.
I get the chair.
Come on.